So here it is, the Wagner control spray, double duty, is what I'm using for this project. Here it is. You just adjust the nozzle sideways like this, means it's going to spray vertically. If it were turned to vertically, it sprays horizontally. And if it's diagonal, it's going to spray a nice little dot. So here it is, spraying vertically. I do like that I don't need to fuss with any air pumps or anything like that. It is a little heavy after a while, especially looking straight up all the time, but that little area there, as you can see, took about a minute. Here's another spot I did. Sorry, it's a little dark. There's still some spotches here that I gotta go over, but just little touch-ups here and there. Can't really notice any of the other. This area here is going to be covered with soundproofing material on between the rafters, so there's not really much reason for me to paint the very top of the ceiling. It's more of just the corners, and then I'm going to paint the rafters themselves, and in between the rafters I'll put soundproofing material for my office area. And just about out of my first can of paint, but it covered all of those, plus I got some of those areas in there. I got the conduits and the vents. You can see up there. Got all of that as well. Got some of the pipes back there. It's kind of hard to see, but the pipes are done back there. And I had it stopped right about there because that's where the wall is going to be. That'll partition off the heating unit. So that's the end of day one. Again, 1 gallon of paint is all it took to get all of that done. Also, by the end of day one, you can see there isn't any dust on the ground really. That's just the natural color of the cement here. But if you look at the sheet here, there is quite a bit of black dust that is accumulated. It's all over, actually. And when I went up just now to clear my nose out, there's quite a bit of black stuff regardless of my mask that I'm wearing. So this morning I woke up with a lot of pain in my neck and arms just from all the looking up and straining I was doing yesterday. Full day of painting a ceiling really took it out of me. So during breakfast I was reading up about how people were painting their basements a little bit more and seeing if a roller was a viable option. And a lot of people said that the roller actually was a little bit faster because it puts a lot more paint on a lot faster. A really thick coat, and it's light compared to a lot of the sprayers. Of course, not if you're using one of the more professional sprayers, but because I don't want to mess with that, I have a roller here and I got my paint. So I'm going to see if rolling the ceilings will be a little bit easier. I also noticed that while I thought there was almost no spray falling down from when I was spraying yesterday, you can tell here when I moved my sheet over that there's quite a difference there between the original cement and the spray that had fallen down. Now I tried wiping it up with my hand. It doesn't come off, so it is definitely part of the cement now. You can see if I really work at it, I mean that's mostly just dust, but it doesn't really come off. So keep that in mind if you're spraying and you have carpet. I recommend you cover everything, your carpet and all that stuff. The good news is that I checked behind my sheet and there is very little to no dust at all behind there on the floor. So this worked pretty well, even though I didn't, as I said I would, cover the tops between the joists. Still very little overspray in there, so that's a good thing. And that's the end of day 2. So I managed to paint all of the sides of the rafters, all the sides throughout the area that I'm going to be painting. Over here isn't painted, and it's going to be a different kind of ceiling, and that's going to be a bathroom slash work and storage area. So I was able to paint using 1 gallon all the sides of the rafters with a roller brush. I was also able to paint in between some of the rafters with that same roller. It does take a bit more paint, and you have to get a pretty thick roller to make sure it goes on well enough, because it's a pretty rough surface. So I painted in between, but I didn't paint the corners there. I'm going to come back through with a hand brush and do those real quick because the roller doesn't quite get that. So I painted all of that in the middle up until here. So I ran out of paint. Just a little bit more to do. But that's not bad for 1 gallon. All right, day 3 complete. It actually took only about 4 hours to complete the rest of the painting. I did the roller here between, and I got in the corners with a hand brush. You can see over there is unpainted. There's going to be a wall dividing off there anyhow. I want it to be as bright as possible, so I'm not going to paint in there. And over here, you can see up into there on the other side of my computer area, my office area, is going to be soundproofed anyhow, but it won't come all the way down, so I still needed to paint the beams and the air conduit here. So that's it. Day 3. It took me 3 days and 3 gallons of paint. Not too bad.